Oh, hey, I'm glad you're here. Cartoons and kid movies. Have I always loved them? Of course. As a kid growing up in a video store, was it my favorite place? Absolutely not. Odd collections of Warner Brothers cartoons, Darby and the Little People, The Best of Betty Boop, and The Incredible Mr. Limpet just weren't going to hold a candle next to horror, action, and science fiction. I mean, I love Don Knotts, but if I had to choose between a cartoon fish or Rooker Hauer battling Stallone and Nighthawks, I'm going to go with the latter. That being said, I was a kid with a weird passion for Oh God, You Devil movies. I don't know why, but I just loved George Burns. Yeah, it's a real head scratcher. But we're talking about cartoons. And as kids, we could only see new cartoons once a week, and that was on Saturday mornings. So each Saturday, I'd wake up, I'd get the newspaper like a tiny little businessman, and I'd go over specifically the TV guide, and I'd look at what the morning would hold. You really only had 7 a.m. to 11, and then sports would take over, or sometimes teen comedy dramas. And there wasn't a cartoon channel, so this was the only window of time for us. And sometimes the stars would align, and the three major channels would have what you wanted at staggered times. But other mornings, you woke up to a dilemma. I mean, Muppet Babies at 8 a.m. No competition. Perfect. But 8:30? Both Wuzzles and Shirttails are on? I mean, how can you choose between shirts that express your inner dialogue or animals that are mixed up versions of other animals? As a child, we identify with both. I mean, you'd have Cops or COPS, depending on what you were doing there. Mr. T, where a dog had a mohawk. I mean, that's awesome. Brave Star, his robo space horse had hands. Ask a cowboy or cowgirl if they wish that they could high-five their horse. Answer would be 100% yeehaw, which is horse person for yes. Well, Pawpaws, I mean, they're super cute. They're dogs with giant heads. I mean, sometimes you'd luck out, and one would be a rerun, so you could quickly flip to Snorks. But I mean, the real Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice, how can a pre-goth kid choose? I mean, both involve ghosts. Between you and me, Beetlejuice is the better show, but honestly, I loved them all, even RoboCop and the Kid and Play cartoon. But we shouldn't get started on Kid and Play. I loved Kid and Play. I learned the kick step. Which involved both of them, but I taught it to myself by myself, which upon reflection seems sad. But that's not my point. Being a kid can be hard. It can take a lot of work, and sometimes it can definitely feel like a job. Which brings us to this episode. The film is Spirited Away, the guest is my kid, and this is VH Us. Hello, and welcome to VH Us, the podcast where each episode we talk about a different film, and the guest has the profession portrayed in the film. I'm your host, Dirk Marshall, and please remember to rate and review us wherever you find your podcasts, and share the episodes with your friends. Thank you so far for all the positive words, and you can find out original artwork and more articles about each episode at vh-us.com. I'm joined in the studio by Adeline, who is a 6-year-old. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. And we're going to talk about a movie called Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Where they are driving in a car, and there's a girl in the back named...
It's Sen eventually, but it's Chihiro, I think, at first.
Chihiro at first. And then they're going through a tunnel.
What is it?
Come on, let's go in. I want to see what's on the other side.
I'm not going. It gives me the creeps. I mean, they got out of the car, on the way,
Yeah.
And there was a tunnel, so they walked through it, and they started eating food.
Hey, that looks great.
I wonder what this is called. Oh, it's delicious. Chihiro, you have to taste this.
Right. Well, right before we get to that part, I just want to say that the reason I'm joined in the studio by Adeline is because we're brought together by the film Spirited Away. And normally I would ask you if this was the first time you saw this movie, but how many times do you think you've seen Spirited Away?
Like 3 or 4 or 18.
Yeah, and you have the book too, right?
Yeah, we have the book.
Well, the story of the film is that during the family's move to the suburbs, a young girl wanders into a world ruled by gods, witches, and spirits, where humans are changed into beasts. Do you think that describes the movie?
Then mostly, what happens next mostly is,
Well, I did have a question for you. In the beginning, Chihiro is riding in the car with her parents, and they're moving to a new house. I know. You know? She doesn't seem like she really wants to move. How do you feel about moving?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care about moving?
No, I would miss the old house, but I wouldn't care.
Okay. The dad then stops the car at a tunnel, and they get out to investigate. Would you do that? Would you walk down a dark tunnel?
Would, if I had to, if there was no other way, like a shortcut or something to go.
Okay. Then they find an amusement park,
I
and
would
it starts
have
to
to-
get dark.
And Dad, can I tell the rest?
Oh, you want to tell the story? Oh, yeah, I just had another question for you.
One more question.
So the dad starts eating a bunch of food, right? And like you said, he turns into a pig.
Come on, quit eating! Let's get out of here!
But that food didn't look very good to me. What kind of food do you think it would take for me to start eating a bunch and turn into a pig?
Pizza.
Pizza?
Hot sauce.
Pizza with hot sauce?
Next. The best. Tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Candy.
Yeah.
And that's most of all the stuff I would think you would love to eat.
What would you eat? What would it have?
Candy, strawberries, fruit, and hamburgers, pizza, spaghetti.
That's how they get us and turn us into pigs?
Well, I would not eat if I was not hungry. Like Chihiro, she's
Yeah.
probably just not hungry anymore. So.
That's a good point.
And she didn't want to get in trouble, so it's very,
So then after that, she sees that the parents have turned into pigs. She runs into a boy.
named Haku.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid. I just want to help you.
Your turn.
Oh, he tells her to run, but she can't escape fast enough. And then there's water everywhere. We see a boat. There's a giant duck people. We see Radish Spirit, who's one of my favorites.
Later in this, we're gonna see my dad's favorite name, like Radish Spirit.
That's right. So then she gets sad. She hides in a bush, and Haku casts a spell, allowing her to move in the spirit world so that she's not see-through.
Yes, because she would never want to be seen.
Right.
I mean, that's bad. That's bad. Then she would turn into a pig or a creature mostly.
Yeah.
One of those.
Could be.
It would be bad.
What kind of spells would you cast if you could cast a spell like Haku?
Like, I would just make flying Pegasus, pictures of me to give away, and stuff like that.
That's great spells.
And make rainbows.
Oh, yeah. Chihiro then goes down those scary stairs on the back of the bathhouse, and we get to meet Kamaji.
Yeah, we get to meet Kamaji the Boiling Man. Hello, are you Kamaji?
And she asks for work. We get to see the soot sprites, which are
She
very funny.
keeps asking for work.
She then meets Lynn.
Lynn, who's very nice, helps her out, and they turn into really good friends.
Come on, little girl. You better follow me.
Yeah, they take the elevator up with Radish Spirit. Again, we see his butt at one part.
We see his butt at one point. It's very weird and frankly, we love it.
Yes, and then we meet Yo Baba.
And then we meet Yo Baba.
Well, come in.
What do you think about Yo Baba?
She's very, like, you know how other witches are kind of nice and mean, both between? She is very mean. I would not say she's between nice. She's mostly evil. Mean, you can watch this movie if you want this way.
Chihiro then gets a job. We see the three weird bouncing
She
heads.
keeps asking, and then it makes the witch mad. She flies in the air and then jumps down.
Yeah, and then
And now it's my dad's turn. Go on, Dad. Go on.
and she invites No Face into the bathhouse, which isn't a good thing.
Which is not a good, because she swallows people, swallows food. It's very, very intense, and it's not good, which is in this later.
That's right. And then there's a stink spirit that comes into the bathhouse.
It's a stink spirit.
And apparently it's an extra smelly one. He's headed straight for the bridge.
And she gets the job to clean it. Is it pretty gross?
And then next happens, it's actually a stink monster. But then it actually turns in to not what you think it is. It turns in to this huge dragon.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's awesome, but not cool. It's like, it's so freaking weird.
Yeah, and then after that, No Face begins offering people gold.
And then he swallows it.
Yeah.
Well, this is the part we're getting to, well, when he gets let in.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to a part that you really don't care for.
I hate it badly.
So,
His Haku's flying papers behind him.
yep.
He starts bleeding everywhere.
Yeah. So Sen follows him up to the top, right?
A baby is hiding, a huge baby is hiding in pillows.
Wow, you're a big baby. Would you mind letting go of me? I'm in a really big hurry. You came in here to make me sick.
And then she says she might break Spirit Away's arm.
I've got to go right now, so please let go of me. If you go, I'll cry, and Mama will hear me, and Mama will come in here and kill you. Play with me or I'll break your arm. That hurts!
Yeah, and then he bangs her arm. Like when he says it, he's like trying to break her arm, but then she says no, and then she shows she has a bloody hand from Haku because she's bleeding on, because she has to get to him, during the baby, and my dad will speak the rest for a little.
Well, I just want to say that's one mean baby.
He's one mean baby, and now my dad's going to talk about
Okay.
the rest.
Well, then they go down the hole to Kamaji, and Haku coughs up some kind of thing, right?
It's a little slug. Besides that, it would be a really special
You gotta talk through the microphone, honey.
gold thing, and the spell book off of it, so he's not so sick anymore and bleeding, from the inside. So next, what happened?
He's a greedy little thief. There's nothing good about him. Step aside, little girl. I'm going to take my seal back from him.
That golden seal, love broke the spell.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's not magical anymore. It would turn to the witch, and my dad would talk the rest.
Right. So then we discover that Yobaba is actually played by her sister at this point, and she turns the three heads into a baby and turns the baby into a purple rat.
And the baby turns into three heads, green.
Chihiro is made to go deal with No Face, who's eating everybody.
Chihiro. I have no idea. Now, that's not it. Chihiro or something?
He's destroying everything. It's costing us a fortune. So suck up to him and get every last speck of gold.
She feeds him something, and he starts throwing up everywhere, and is chasing her through the bathhouse, but he's eventually No Face as his old self, right?
Yeah? He just went crazy from in the bathhouse. There were so many people. He was kind of freaked out.
So then they
weird,
all...
but I don't really like it, but it was annoying.
Then they all go on a ghost train to see Zeniba, right?
To get that golden seal back.
Yep.
And then she notices it's not, double knot, has a spell in it anymore. Because love broke it. Because Chihiro loves Haku so much.
So off they go to Zeniba's, which is Yobaba's sister, to return what Haku stole from Yobaba. Haku is better, and she rides on his back to see Yobaba, where she must choose her pig parents from the other pigs, right?
Yes.
See if you can tell which of these pigs is your mother and father.
She chooses this right. She chose none of these are her parents, and she was right.
Yeah, that's correct.
None. They were all dressed up people.
And then her family is all back together.
And then the family's all back together because she's at the water, and they get back in the car, and then there's stuff all over it.
And is she nervous about
And she's nervous to go. And it's and commercial break.
Oh, perfect. This episode is brought to you by Marshall's Hot Sauce. Founded in 2011 by Sarah Marshall, author of Preservation Pantry. Having been a social worker for over a decade, Sarah wanted to continue to create community, only this time through food. Starting by sourcing from local farms and asking farmers to plant specific types of peppers and breeds of tomatoes, each sauce is made from fresh seasonal produce. There are 4 main sauces: smoked habanero barbecue, red chili lime, serrano ginger lemongrass, and habanero carrot curry. And around 12 rotating seasonal flavors, including ghost chili apple and cranberry red jalapeno, those being the current fall flavors. All made from produce at its peak of freshness and all done by hand. Head on over to marshallshotsauce.com, that's Marshall's, H-A-U-T-E, marshallshotsauce.com, and use code VHS Podcast, one word, that's VHUS Podcast, at checkout for 20% off your order. That is VHS Podcast at checkout for 20% off. All right. And now back to the show.
And now back.
So this brings me to the end questions of the episode. They're some of my favorite questions, and they're questions just for you, Adeline. And this is about you being a 6-year-old girl, what it's like. So what's a good day like for you?
Well, I like going sometimes to Oaks Park to roller skate. I really like, well, when Mom takes me to John Incredible Pizza Palace, because I love that spinny ride, but I don't really like any more the one that goes like squawk, like
the boat?
I don't like the boat.
Yeah, you're too big for it?
No, sometimes it makes my tummy hurt. So
Yeah.
I don't really like it.
Motion
But
sickness.
I would go in it. I still go in it. I just don't really like it.
Okay.
But if my tummy wasn't too full of food, I would definitely do.
Okay. And what is a bad day like for a kid?
I don't. Well, when people don't let I don't like when people don't let me choose books or something like that. And I don't really like when it's like exactly people don't let me go out in the rain splashing puddles.
Oh, yeah, you like to splash in the puddles?
And when people don't let me, I'm kind of mad.
How do you like school?
I love it. I really like school. It's really fun, but sometimes I just want to take a break of going to school.
Sure. You're on break right now. That's nice.
Yeah, I love it. I don't really like when I'm not on break.
And what are your favorite things about being a 6-year-old girl?
I don't know. I just love
That's
everything.
fine. That's great. I love that. You're a very happy kid.
Well, I love going to school, and I love playing with my friends.
Oh, that's lovely. Do you have any advice for anyone? Do you know what the word advice means?
No.
So, like, if you met another little kid and they were nervous about being a kid, would you be like, be brave or laugh a lot? Or do you have any advice? If not, I can cut it out.
I don't have any advice.
Okay, great.
We're back.
So we reached my favorite and final question for you. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
What are your dreams like?
I don't really have any dreams.
You don't have any dreams?
I used to. I'll tell you one of my dreams if you want.
I would love to hear one of your dreams.
I had a dream where at a store I got a teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it a long time ago when I was a baby. And I was like a couple years old. And a huge spider took it from me because it was actually his, and it scared me really bad.
That's a
I
terrifying
woke
dream.
up from that dream. It was terrifying. I hated that. It was like my worst enemy dream.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had that spider dream.
I was very little, so I definitely mostly cried a little.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. And since I have you here, and that you could listen to this someday when you're way older, I just wanted to tell you something that I hope you can remember.
What?
That I see you, and you were brave and strong, and you're funny and smart, and I'm very proud of you and who you are. I love you very much. So thanks for being here.
And commercial break. Now we're done.
And thank you for listening to VHS. I'll see you next time when I talk about a different movie with a different person with a different profession. Bye-bye.